Athens has been continuously inhabited for around 7,000 years, and it grew where it did for reasons written into the rock, the harbors, and the winds. Here are 50 geography facts you never knew about Athens. Fact 50. Athens has been continuously inhabited for around 7,000 years. People have lived on the Acropolis rock without interruption since roughly 5000 BC, making Athens one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth, older than Rome, London, or Paris. Fact 49. Athens grew around a fortress of solid limestone. The Acropolis is a mass of hard limestone rising sharply about 150 meters above the plain, its height and sheer cliffs making it the obvious stronghold the city grew around. Fact 48. Athens sits in a basin ringed by 4 mountains. The city occupies a basin enclosed by 4 mountains: Aigaleo, Parnitha, Penteli, and Hymettus, a ring that sheltered the early city but now traps its notorious summer smog. Fact 47. Athens owed its naval power to 3 natural harbors. The peninsula of Piraeus offered 3 superb natural harbors, sheltered and easy to defend, which Athens used to build the fleet that made it the dominant naval power of the Greek world. Fact 46. Athens did not lack rivers. It buried them. Contrary to common belief, ancient Athens had 3 rivers: the Kephisos, Ilissos, and Eridanos, later culverted and paved over during development, so they now run hidden beneath the streets. Fact 45. Athens has a river that once flowed past the Acropolis. The little Eridanos rose on Lycabettus and flowed past the Acropolis and through the Agora, and a stretch of its stone-lined bed survives at Keramikos, still carrying water underground. Just a quick one. Would love if you hit subscribe. Now, back to the facts. Fact 44. Athens has a mountain that rises straight from the city. Lycabettus juts abruptly to nearly 300 meters out of the basin, simply the same hard limestone as the Acropolis, left standing as softer rock around it eroded away. Fact 43. Athens built long walls to fuse the city to its port. Because Piraeus lay several kilometers off, the Athenians built the long walls linking city and harbor, so Athens could be supplied entirely by sea during a siege. Fact 42. Athens and its Port Piraeus are still 2 distinct cities. Piraeus grew up as Athens' harbor, but developed its own identity and remains a legally separate municipality today. 2 neighbors that never fully merged into one city. Fact 41. Athens owed its golden age to a nearby silver mine. The rich silver mines at Laurion, south of the city, funded the fleet that defeated Persia and paid for the Golden Age, a vein of ore that bankrolled classical Athens. Fact 40. Athens was built from marble, quarried on its doorstep. The Parthenon's gleaming marble came from Mount Penteli, just 16 kilometers away, close enough to haul enormous blocks overland and build on an extraordinary scale. Fact 39. Athens has a marble that turns golden in the sun. Pentelic marble contains iron that slowly oxidizes, giving weathered monuments a warm honey tint, so the Parthenon's sunset glow is really a reaction between the stone and open air. Fact 38. Athens depended on the sea. Because its soil was poor. The thin, dry soil of Attica could never feed a large population, so Athens traded olive oil and pottery for imported grain, forced by geography into becoming a maritime power. Fact 37. Athens made a global product from a tree that loved its soil. The olive tree thrives in exactly the thin limestone soils that defeated other crops, and olive oil became the export that paid for the grain Athens could not grow. Fact 36. Athens owes its name to an olive tree. In myth, Athena won the city by giving it the olive tree, a story reflecting a real truth about what made Athens rich, honored by a sacred olive on the Acropolis. Fact 35. Athens enjoys some of the most reliable sunshine in Europe. Athens receives well over 2,500 hours of sunshine a year, among the sunniest European capitals, a clear light that shaped how its marble monuments were designed to be seen. Fact 34. Athens sits at the heart of a country of thousands of islands. Greece is scattered with thousands of islands, and Athens sits at the natural hub of that maritime world, able to dominate sea routes in every direction. Fact 33. Athens has a wind. So distinctive it was given a monument. The ancient Tower of the Winds is an octagonal marble building with a carved figure for each of the 8 winds. Athenians recognized part sundial, weather vane, and water clock. Fact 32. Athens uses its sea breeze to cool the city. Sitting in a hot basin beside the sea, Athens is cooled each afternoon by a breeze off the Saronic Gulf, which made summers bearable long before air conditioning. Fact 31. Athens has a sacred spring hidden inside the Acropolis. Deep inside the Acropolis rock, a natural fissure reached a spring that could supply water even under siege. One more reason this outcrop became the city's heart. Fact 30. Athens placed its marketplace where the ground was flat. The ancient agora, the heart of Athens, sat on a rare patch of flat ground below the Acropolis, one level space in a city of slopes where public life gathered. Fact 29. Athens depended entirely on imported grain. Athens could feed only a fraction of its people locally, importing vast quantities of grain from the Black Sea, so control of the sea routes became a matter of survival. Fact 28. Athens built its theater into the slope of a hill. The Theater of Dionysus, birthplace of Western drama, was carved into the southern slope of the Acropolis, using a well-shaped hillside for its acoustics and sightlines. Fact 27. Athens has suburbs higher and cooler than its center. Because the basin rises toward the mountains, some northern suburbs sit hundreds of meters above the sweltering center and stay cooler, which is where the wealthiest districts grew. Fact 26. Athens marble was cut to correct the human eye. The Parthenon has almost no truly straight lines, its platform curving upward and columns tilting inward, refinements widely believed to correct optical illusions, so it appears perfectly straight. Fact 25. Athens built columns that would meet kilometers overhead. The Parthenon's columns lean inward so slightly that, extended into the sky, they would converge over a kilometer above the temple. Extraordinarily precise ancient geometry. Fact 24. Athens grew where land and sea, routes naturally met. Athens sat where overland routes through Attica converged near a coast full of harbors, a rare meeting of good land and sea access that made it a natural trading hub. Fact 23. Athens faced constant water shortages in a dry land. Attica is one of the drier corners of Greece, and Athens struggled with water throughout its history, building an elaborate network of wells, cisterns, and springs to collect every drop. Fact 22. Athens built an ancient aqueduct that still feeds the city. The Emperor Hadrian built a long underground aqueduct carrying water to Athens from Mount Parnitha, tunneled by hand, parts of it restored in modern times to water the parks. Fact 21. Athens sites on ground that shakes. Greece is one of Europe's most seismically active regions, and the tectonic forces that crumpled the land into Athens' mountains and harbors keep the ground beneath the city restless. Fact 20. Athens has a coastline, called the Athens Riviera. South of the city, the Attic coast unfolds into the beaches of the Athens Riviera, geography that once served warships, now giving the capital a seaside near its center. Fact 19. Athens was shielded by the island of Salamis. The island of Salamis shelters Athens' harbors and forms the narrow strait where the fleet destroyed the Persian navy, coastal geography that helped decide the fate of Greece. Fact 18. Athens has a hill where its democracy met. Citizens of ancient Athens gathered to vote on the Pnyx, a rocky hill whose natural rise served as a speaker's platform, the birthplace of democratic assembly literally shaped from rock. Fact 17. Athens has a hill named for the god of war. The Areopagus, a bare outcrop beside the Acropolis, meaning the Hill of Ares, was the seat of an ancient council and court, one of antiquity's most important legal sites. Fact 16. Athens marble came from a mountain still being quarried. Mount Penteli, source of the Parthenon's marble, has been quarried for around 2,500 years and still yields stone to restore the monuments it first built, its scars visible above the city. Fact 15. Athens was protected by the rugged passes of Attica. The mountains ringing Athens were crossed by only a handful of passes, natural choke points that made the region far easier to defend and central to the city's security. Fact 14. Athens has a climate that shaped its daily rhythm. Athens has hot, dry summers and mild, wet winters, and the long tradition of an afternoon rest and lively evening street life is a direct response to that Mediterranean climate. Fact 13. Athens grew where Attica reached toward the sea. Attica is a triangular peninsula thrusting into the Aegean, and Athens sits near its heart, giving an inland, feeling capital an unusual abundance of coastline and harbors. Fact 12. Athens has an ancient cemetery beside a buried river. The Kerameikos, ancient Athens' main cemetery, grew along the banks of the Eridanos, just outside the gates, the river that once edged the living city now trickling through the ruins. Fact 11. Athens has been rebuilt on its own ruins again and again. Because the site has been occupied for millennia, almost any deep excavation uncovers antiquity, and building the metro unearthed so many artifacts that some stations became museums. Fact 10. Athens draws cool air down from its mountains at night. As the mountains cool after sunset, air drains down their slopes into the basin, a nightly mountain breeze that, with the daytime sea wind, helps Athens cope with its heat. Fact 9. Athens has a hill that frames the Acropolis at sunset. Philopapos Hill, southwest of the Acropolis, offers the classic view of the monument and its golden sunset glow, its bare slopes left unbuilt to preserve a natural viewpoint. Fact 8. Athens was one of the largest cities of the ancient world. At its height, Greater Athens held a population in the hundreds of thousands, sustainable only because harbors, trade routes, and imported grain fed a city too large for its poor soil. Fact 7. Athens rested on the labor of the enslaved. Classical Athens contained tens of thousands of enslaved people, many in the brutal Laurian silver mines, so its celebrated democracy and monuments rested on an economy dependent on the unfree. Fact 6. Athens has an ancient stadium of solid marble. The Panathenaic Stadium, rebuilt entirely in Pentelic marble, sits in a natural fold between two low hills. Athens, again, letting the shape of its own terrain provide the seating. Fact 5. Athens marble monuments were designed for a specific light. The clarity and angle of Attic sunlight shaped how architects designed their temples, using crisp shadows and subtle curves that only work under that bright sky, building and light designed together. Fact 4. Athens sits where Europe leans toward Asia. Athens sits on the sea routes that linked Europe, Asia, and Africa, a crossroads for ideas as much as goods that made it a magnet for commerce, culture, and conflict. Fact 3. Athens has guarded the same rock for 7 millennia. Every civilization to hold Athens, from prehistoric settlers to Ottomans, occupied the same Acropolis rock, an unbroken chain of habitation anchored to one piece of geography. Fact 2. Athens was made by the meeting of rock, harbor, and hill. Everything about Athens flows from one arrangement: a defensible rock, sheltered harbors, encircling mountains, and a marble quarry within reach, Remove anyone, and the classical city never forms. Fact 1. Athens is the city that geography built and then buried. From the limestone rock it was founded on to the 3 rivers it later paved over. Athens is a city written into its landscape and then written over, its harbors and buried rivers still beneath the streets. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Athens' extraordinary geography. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for a whole lot more.